Come on now, girl. Get on board.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to our chat tonight. So I'm waiting for y'all to come in the room. Once you come in the room, chat, post something, post hello, just to know that we know that you're here. And we'll wait a few moments for people to get in here.
Very good. And what's a good way? I'm gonna send this to the divas. I don't know if you can hear those dogs. Hopefully, you can't hear those dogs.
They're participating in the chat too.
Okay, I see them. All right, I'm gonna send this out to the divas to remind them. There we go. Yeah.
There some people coming in the room now. If you will post your name as you come in so we can greet you. So I want everybody to participate tonight. If you have any questions, most definitely put your questions at the in the chat, and we'll do our best to answer all of them as we go.
Amen. All right, so I'll send that out to the divas to remind them that we are here, ready to rock and roll.
Yeah. So since it is, I don't want to get feedback. I had it on my phone too. Welcome, everybody.
Hey, everybody.
So, everybody come on in. So this tonight is we're going to just have a talk about some good mental health. We're going to have some serious topics, but I don't want to trigger anybody or anything like that, but it could be a triggering topic. So just a heads up, this could be a triggering topic, but we're going to try our best to, get as much information out and, like I said, answer as many questions as possible. So first and foremost, my beautiful guest, Rhonda Mack, I would love for you to introduce yourself. Go ahead for us. For those that don't know you.
All right, for those of us who have not heard Chatty Patty talk, thank you so much for having me tonight. My name is Rhonda Mack, and I am a proud Army veteran who I am I'm the proud founder of the Dog Tags, hence the Dog Tags and the tiara. And I am also the proud, and I'm just blessed to be a counselor associate with Texas Centerpoint, located in Austin. And we provide free counseling services to veterans, their spouses, and their family members. So we're going to be talking a lot more about that. But the short version, I'm a proud Army veteran who gets to hang out with my sister vets with Divas and Dog Tags and Woven and Camouflage Sisters, the other women veterans in the Central Texas area. Give them a shout out. But also, I'm also the counselor associate. My day job, where I really do have to behave, is at Texas Centerpoint, and I am the counselor associate. Moving on up to the upgrade to LPC later this month. So, upgrade coming. But thank y'all so much for having me.
I think that you repeat a little bit of that because they got a little muffled on our end. I don't know if it's some little tech issues.
Yeah. So my name is Rhonda Mack, and I am a proud Army veteran. I am the founder of the Women Veterans Group, Divas and Dog Tags. So hence the pink dog tags and the lovely tiara here that we all sport. As you can see, the lovely Miss Shamala also is sporting her dog tag tiara. And then also during the daytime, my favorite job of all, besides the Divas and Dog Tags, is I am a licensed professional counselor associate. It used to be a licensed professional counselor intern, but we got an upgrade late last year, so now we're known as known up. But I work for Texas Center Point, and we are located in Austin, but we do serve Bastrop, Bell, Hayes, Coryell, and Williamson County. So we provide general assistance to veterans and their spouses. If they qualify, they may qualify to receive assistance with rent or mortgage payments, or if there's a vehicle that needs to be repaired and they need some sort of repair on it to use it for the job search, then they also could qualify for that as well. But I provide free mental health counseling services to veterans and or their spouses and their children ages 8 to 24, as long as they're enrolled in school.
Awesome.
All right, that's whole mouthful.
Get into cutting your background. So what was the purpose of you joining the Army?
Well, the purpose of me joining the Army, it really was, if I have to be really honest, it was following in the footsteps of my family. So I was actually one of the first women in my family. I think there were two of us that had gone into the military, but my uncles, everyone had gone into the military, and my mother and I had this ongoing battle. Everything my brother did, I wanted to do what he did, but he's 16 years older than me. So she's like, you could go into the military after you finish college. So my mother passed away, and she passed away after my first year in college, and I really had to figure out what was I going to do. And so the Army seemed to provide the structure, because I grew up in a household, it was by the book, by the numbers. So going into the military was a natural step for me, and so it was something that I was proud of, and I could see a long-term career for myself there.
Awesome. So before going into the Army, what was the idea or the image that you had of the military, and what the military was, what it represented, and when did that change, if it changed for you?
Okay. Yeah, that's a great question. So from the outset, it represented just pride. You were going to serve your country, and that was like the ultimate thing that you could do. And then for me, being a woman and being a Black woman, I didn't see anybody else that looked like me at the time. I found out since then, I've got another cousin that is a woman who had gone in. So that's why I say there were two of us. But there was a sense of pride in, I have a purpose. I was kind of lost and didn't know what my purpose was going to be. And so the military, I was a military police officer, and I am by nature I'm a nurturer. I am an advocate for others. And so that job as a military police officer, I adored it, because it provided everything I needed: interaction with, people on base and people off base for some of the job duties. However, there came a darker side after I joined the military. And so that's where, a trigger warning for folks. I got to see, especially being a military police officer, things behind the scenes. And then when I encountered military sexual trauma, I became, I was a victim of military sexual trauma. In seeing the process or lack of process thereof in 1992, between 90 and 92, there wasn't really a process. And so that I didn't realize until recently, that cut my career shorter, because I was, the process dimmed for me, I guess.
Yeah. Thank you for that. So what PTSD and MST are pervasive in the military environment.
Yeah.
Do you think that, there are better preventative measures that can be taken?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. It seems like daily now we're starting to come up with things like, really, accountability is the number one thing we need for them to take accountability for. You have soldiers who are in the ranks, whether it's men or women, because men and women in the military are victims of military sexual trauma. And so we need our commanders, we need the higher ups, we need the officers to be accountable that there is something going on in the ranks. If we come to you, this is the hardest thing that we will likely have to come to you with. from a position of strength. When people look at us in the military, they look at us as being strong and being able to do it all. And then when you become a victim of MST, which produces PTSD and anxiety and depression and all of those things are symptoms of it. If we cannot go with safety, if we don't feel safe talking to our commander or talking to the head of our unit or talking to someone about that, then it just creates further trauma that we're going to have to deal with down the line. So yes, there are things that related to PTSD and MST. They've come a long way, but they still got a long way to go.
Yeah. I'm going to divert from the questions I gave you because something came to mind. On another talk, I talked to some ladies that were survivors of MST, and we were talking about preventative measures at the very beginning, like at the MEPS level. Do you think that psychological evaluations at the MEPS level will be a good measure? And then what type of other training or evaluations at the very beginning level would you think will be good?
Yeah, well, now that I'm a counselor on this side of it, there should be some sort of evaluation before you go in, because we essentially are just having young folks come in or having people come in and going, oh, so you made this number on the test, so pick a job. You qualify for these, just pick one. And you go off into this, and we don't know who we're sending out into these fields. So some sort of trauma assessment should be done. We should be asking questions about PTSD. We should be evaluating for symptoms of PTSD. We should be asking about depression, anxiety, and if it is revealed, then we need to figure out how are you dealing with it. We need to have more of an assessment done. But the caveat to that is we would be counting on someone to be honest and give us 100% transparency in admitting that, because if they don't admit it, then they're just going to come on in anyway, and we still won't find out until something happens. So it's a very, very fine line. Yeah.
Okay. So there has been a lot of triggering topics in the news lately. What is your advice for people to deal with this, that have experienced these situations?
That is a great question. So that's something that I deal with every day. And so a part of what I talk to my clients about, and I talk to my divas and just anyone really who's willing to listen, because this is my soapbox, one of my soapbox issues. I always tell them, be informed, because especially now there's a lot of information that is coming out about MST, PTSD, how those things correlate, and symptoms and signs that we can look out for now. Be informed, yes, but also monitor your body system, because if you start to feel anxious, if you start to feel like your heart is racing, or you are starting to flash back as you're hearing things related to MST or PTSD, then you want to begin to watch how much you're taking in from social media, because that absolutely will trigger you. And then from there, it's kind of like a downhill slide, and you're having to try to dig back out from there. So I certainly say, you want to be informed, but you want to monitor your body system. And then the most important thing for me, self-care is another thing that I'm on my soapbox for. When you are watching these traumatic and triggering events, when you pull back from them, turn off the TV, put the phone down, go outside, do something to take care of yourself. Self-care is a major part of this.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great advice. Great advice. So what does good mental health look like after a trauma? Or it could actually to you, because it's very individual. So what does good mental health look like after trauma to you?
Yeah, so that's another really good question. Good mental health after trauma, there's a process with that. So it just depends where you are on the spectrum, because good mental health, what we tend to do before we actually deal with the issue is we compartmentalize in the back of our head and we just kind of put on a happy face and we push through until our body is like, nope, nope, I need to deal with this. Yes. So what happens then is your body is going to get you to a place where you have to address it. You have to address it. For me personally, it took me right at about 20 years out of the military before I had to address it. Life was happening very, very quickly to me. And I was told that I have one of the greatest abilities to compartmentalize things by several of my therapists and my primary care doctors. But life was happening. I didn't feel like I had time to deal with it until the day I ended up backing my truck up on a lady's car because she was parking too close to me. Now, that was a little out of character for me, so I had to address that. So good mental health for me began that day because after I pulled my truck off of that lady's car and nobody got hurt, nobody was hurt. I went into a different place in my head at that point. So after I pulled away, I went.
Right, I'm going to have you stop just for a second so we don't miss what you're saying because it's going in and out for whatever reason.
Okay.
Okay, see if you can go. Start talking now. See if it's clear.
Okay. Can you hear me? Okay, is it better? This better, or is it still going in and out?
It's still going in and out a little bit.
Okay. I don't know. We're out in the middle of nowhereville, out in the middle of Mayberry. So is it still a little bit jacked up?
I can hear you.
Yes. All right. Very good.
So after you on somebody's car, which we're gonna put it out there, disclaimer, we don't agree, but we understand.
I do not advocate that. I do not advocate that. No. I'm kidding.
Oh, but no, they can hear us fine. It might just be on my end. Okay, so go ahead. It might just be on my end. Everybody's saying they can hear you.
Okay. All right. Great. So, if anything comes up where you lose me or you can't hear me, let me know if you need me to repeat anything. But after I did pull my car for that lady's car, thankfully nobody got hurt, no damage. I sat down and I thought about it, and I'm like, you know what? That's very unlike me. What is really going on with me? And I realized that during that time frame, I was much more sensitive to everything. I was crying more often. I couldn't leave my house. The thought of leaving my house brought me to tears. I was driving down the highway and crying so hard I had to pull over on the side of the road. And then at work, I couldn't explain why I couldn't be in the presence of men. I just couldn't. And after that incident, I went and I sought out a therapist. And as we talked about it, we realized I was being triggered at different points of my day. And then what ended up happening is we talked about it. The biggest thing we find is most people think that if we start talking about it, we'll start crying and we'll cry so much we'll never get to the end of it. Well, I can promise you that we learn how to manage these symptoms. I wish that I could promise you that good mental health looks like a magic wand where we tap it and it goes away. But really, the honest truth is we learn how to manage these symptoms. And so we can do that through different things like mindfulness, breathing exercises, writing down, like keeping a journal and tracking your behavior. Exposure therapy sometimes can work. So good mental health looks like, for me, it looks like self-care. That was the bottom line for me. It meant purposefully carving out time when I feel stressed. Number one, say no. No is a full sentence. So just say no. Don't try to save the entire world. We can't do it every day. Maybe some days, but not every day. And then start away. You know, my thing is get out into the sunlight and look up. Look up, because where our eyes can see tends to stress us out. So look up, let the sun shine on your face, let the breeze blow across your face, listen to the birds, play with puppies, play with babies, you know, whatever it takes to get you to a point where you can release that stress that we're carrying every day. So that was a super long story, but that's what mental health looks like for me. So,
being that you are a licensed, well, professional licensed counselor. Take us through the process you go with the client. If, say, for instance, you were your own client, how would you take us through that process?
Okay, well, I always start by telling my clients the way my therapy sessions look are totally different than anything that you probably have seen on TV, or different than anything that you may have experienced, especially if you may have gone through the VA. And from what I understand, I'm having clients tell me that they are being reduced to one topic per session. And so when you walk into a therapy session, you usually have that day's issues that are going on, personal, work, family, a lot of things are happening. So when we sit down, especially the first time, I want to know, what are your expectations? I want to know what has worked for you if you've attended prior therapy sessions, because if it's worked for you, we want to continue that, right? If it hasn't worked, we want to make sure we don't do that, right? So I'm going to listen. The number one thing, I'm going to listen to you. The thing that we find, people with PTSD, and especially those with MST, they don't feel like they're heard. And as much as I love to talk, believe it or not, I can zip it, and I do zip it, because I want to provide for you a safe environment in our counseling session where you can come in and lay down your worries, your concerns. We might not be able to resolve everything that concerns you in that one session, but we're going to talk about what is the most pressing issue. Because what you told me last week when we first enrolled you during our session, or any of our sessions, it may not be the most pressing thing on that day. So, with you being the expert on your life, I am guided by what is bothering you, and we're going to work on it, and we're going to come up with tips and tools and worksheets. And I give homework. I do give homework. So whatever it is we're talking about, I do my best to, one, let you know you're in a safe environment. That is the most important thing to me. I need you to feel like you're safe and you can say what you need to say. Um, Little side note, yeah, I told folks, when I do hang my shingle in my private practice, I may have to call myself the cussing counselor, because sometimes you got to clear your. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I don't want anybody to walk into my sessions and feel like you have to walk gingerly around me. I'm a big girl. I'm 100,000 years old. There's probably not much that you're gonna say that's gonna offend me or shock me. And even if it does, I don't want you carrying that weight. You walk in, you lay it down, and if you gotta cuss a blue streak to get it out, cuss it out.
Right.
I might help you cuss it out. So I try to get you to laugh. Okay. So I tell my clients too, I done heard a lot of cuss words, and I done said a lot of cuss words. If you use some cuss words that I haven't heard, I'm probably going to use them when you leave. So just want you to know, that's the only thing that I'm going to use. I won't say nothing else, but I'm going to use them cuss words if I haven't heard them before. So, but Wendy Williams says, say it like you mean it. I say it like you have to say it, because when you walk outside of your door, when you go to work, wherever you are in the world, you have to be so politically correct for everything. And especially being Black in America, you have to be on guard for every single thing. For Black men, it is you sometimes aren't safe in your own house. Same thing for Black women now, we're finding. So Black women, we're unseen in the world. They don't see us. They see us, but they don't see us. So when you are in my counseling sessions, I zip this, and it's all about you. It is all about what do you need? How can I help you? What resources can I help you find? So that's what a counseling session. That's a really long answer, but I customize each counseling session to what my client needs, and I don't restrict you to talking about one thing. And I need you, I encourage you to say it how you need to say it. And the bottom line is, I am your cheerleader. I am going to do everything I can to motivate you and empower you. When you get up from our session, I want you to feel like you have laid down that burden today. Give it to me. Let us work through it. Because when you walk back out that door, I want you to be ready to take on the world.
Right. Yeah, that's powerful. That's needed. Most times people just need a listening ear. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of times we're not heard, and that's important, and not seen. That's really important, to be heard and truly seen. That's rare nowadays. So for somebody to do that and encapsulate that in one person to help you get results, that's what we need right now. So I really thank you for what you do. So the next question I was going to say, what are some of the misconceptions about mental health counseling, and how do you address them?
Yeah. So the biggest misconception that I have across the board is people think that it makes them look weak. And I
Mm,
always have to, I always invite my clients to reframe that thought process, because the amount of strength that it takes to
mm,
realize that I have tried everything that I can. I have poured every resource that I have into this, and now I need to reach out to somebody else to help me do this,
mm,
because no matter what it takes, I am going to heal myself. I am going to heal the past hurt. I am going to heal the past trauma. I am ready to move forward in my life and do things a different way, because oftentimes when we get to the point when we are thinking about, going to mental health counseling, people are watching us. They're watching us. So they might be giving you some grief about, you're going to go to counseling. They're going to tell you your mama did it. That's usually what people say. It's all your mama. Everybody blame mama. It ain't always mama. So, but really, people think that, they're going to look weak, and I do everything I can to help you realize that it takes just all types of strength and internal, fortitude to reach out, because especially veterans, we have hard heads, and we
mm,
will try and try and try and try until our body is exhausted and we are
mm.
running on fumes, because we either think that someone's going to think that we look weak, or we feel like, somebody else needs it. I think I'm gonna be good. Somebody
Right.
else can this time. And I always ask my clients, but why not you?
Mm,
Why not you? Why? I appreciate you wanting to serve, to provide a service for somebody else, because that's what we do in the military, especially. The service continues whether you're active or whether you're a veteran. But
right.
consider doing something special just for yourself. Give yourself 50 minutes just for you. When does the world on any day tell you, I'm gonna give you 50 minutes? Let's just talk about what bothers you. Just tell me what's going on in
Right.
your life so I can see what I can do for you. Okay?
Right.
So oftentimes, the misconceptions, family, they're worried that family, friends, spouse, whoever it may be, will make fun of them. But really, what ends up happening, I'm finding out this happens a lot. They're watching you from the sidelines. So
Mm,
they may be giving you grief, but if you go to counseling and that thing that used to really bother you, like let's say anger management, if you are known for being the person that pops off at the mouth because for any
right.
reason, yeah, you come into counseling and we start digging through that thing and we start to figure out, okay, so it was this, it was that, it was this. Let's try this, let's try that. And all of a sudden, you go into the family reunions when COVID is gone. You go into the family reunions and you go into all of these, you're encountering daily life, but you're
Right.
handling it differently. You're loving on yourself.
Right.
We can look at everybody else was great, but you like, hey, I like what I see. Okay, baby. Okay.
Exactly.
So yeah, you're setting the example for them,
Yeah.
and they're like, "Oh, okay." So they try that counseling, huh? You might
Right.
give me some.
Yeah.
Okay, I might give some of that
Right.
counseling. You know. So
I bet
and we,
you
I'll get a little bit of it. Give me some of that. So I'm like,
have
okay, whatever it takes to get you in, honey. We will certainly, if it's a little counseling, come get you a little bit of counseling,
Right, just a
and
little
we'll
bit.
see where. Absolutely.
So
So,
for
but those are some of the biggest misconceptions. Now, the yeah, now the darker side of it, I will say, is if you have gone to counseling and you've had a therapist who did not listen to you. Or you had a bad experience because unfortunately, I just recently found out that there are veterans who are going through the court process and they're being told that they're not real veterans if they didn't serve during a certain time frame. And this is prior to the folks that we have active duty now and the veterans who are recently coming out. They're going back decades and saying, if you didn't serve decades ago, you're not a real veteran. That is traumatizing to someone who has served their country. That is traumatizing. Right. Yeah, it's heartbreaking. So if you've had a negative experience with someone who doesn't value you as a human being who chose to serve your country, whether you're a man or a woman, then the stereotype is that nobody cares. Nobody cares. So why talk? Why tell you my business if you're not listening anyway? So yeah, so for me, I've had those experiences, and that is part of the reason why I decided to become a counselor, because I wanted to prove that we can have fun. Yeah, we're going to talk about some pretty messed up stuff, but guess what? We're going to walk through hell together. I'm not going to leave you out here on your own. You can say it how you need to say it. If you need to come in and your day was full of turds and you need to drop a couple of bombs on it in the session, go ahead and do what you got to do. Do what you got to do, and I'm going to applaud you. And all I'm going to ask you before you leave is, do you feel better? Okay. Right. So that's it.
I love it. I love it. Okay, y'all, it's your turn out there in the audience. If you have some questions for Miss Rhonda, please type them in the comment section. And while they're doing that, for the that's true. Linda said, "Not a real veteran, according to whom?" So it's true. Who is saying this? Who is really saying that? Pretty much. Would you say?
Oh no, but actually, believe it or not, this person was married to a veteran, and they felt like the person who was standing before them didn't serve during the time that their veteran served, and I was just like, where is this person? Because I need to make sure that I check in and go, don't you dare, don't try it, do not try it. I'm also known for following up for people who mistreat my veterans. That's my jam. Don't play with me with my veterans now. Don't you tell them they're real veterans. Don't you ignore them. You look at my hand going, look, don't you do it. Don't do it. So yes, okay, I'm on the boot up my yes. I do. I try not to act up.
So
I'll do it. I'll do it. I told my daughter, wait for me to make the news. Now I'm 50. Hey, I can say it like I need to say it. But my main concern is that my veterans know that we have their back. That is my main concern. And there are so many women and men who have survived MST, and they're sitting and they feel like they're all alone in this process. And there are so many of us out here just waiting to welcome you in and let you know that those things that you're feeling, you are not alone. If you are crying and finding that you're more emotional and you don't know why, if you usually used to be able to go into the grocery store and now for some reason, it's like, I don't like all of these people around me. I don't like this thing. Let's talk about that, because that is a natural symptom of MST and PTSD. So there are things that I certainly want to open the floor to. I want to hear from you. Let's talk about the things that maybe your family might not get it. They may initially welcome you in, but then after a few years, they're like, you ain't over this yet. Of course not. It's trauma. We got to deal with it.
Right. Yeah. We have another question. Is how far do your services reach geographically?
Geographically, so right now, for Texas Center Point, we cover Bell, Bastrop, Coryell, Hayes, Travis, and Williamson counties. So those are the counties that my employer will cover. But I also, if we need to go offline, I do offer my own, counseling sessions that I am working on through Let's Talk Therapy. And so that has no bounds. Through Centerpoint and through my own offline sessions, we work via video or we work via phone right now. So because of COVID, none of them are in person. So I can talk to anybody. If you have a computer or a phone that you can link up to, we can have sessions. So the thing about it is my personal sessions cost money, but through Centerpoint, if you are a veteran or a veteran spouse, then we can provide you with free counseling services. That's the only difference.
Awesome. Anybody else have any questions out there? How do we contact you? Actually, I'm going to put this information down under your question, Linda. I thought I was prepared. I was like, hey, let me get this together. Under Empowerment Firm is 735. You'll see all of Rhonda's information for the Empowerment Firm and the Empowerment Firm for her counseling and for the Divas and Dog Tags.
Yes.
And before we let me ask, anybody have any more questions? While there, if anybody's typing, go over, because at the beginning you were talking about Divas and Dog Tags while we have these tiaras on and we have our dog tags. For those who missed it, let them know what's going on here.
All right. So I am the founder of an amazing group called Divas and Dog Tags, and we are comprised of women veterans. We also have the wives of veterans, but we certainly are mostly composed of women veterans, or comprised of women veterans, and we are in the process. This year, we're actually building out programs. So we're coming up with a transition program. We now have an MST support group that is on a private page on Facebook. So if you're interested in that, you certainly can reach out to me and we can get you enrolled in that. But Divas and Dog Tags, we are providing service to our community. That's our goal. Provide support to women veterans who sometimes when we're out in the world, the world doesn't understand us, but we get us. We know that it's not us that's not normal. They don't understand us. It's them. We are normal, honey. We all good. So, well, that's kind of why we wear this tiara a little to the side, because there's a little something we might be a little off, just a little bit, but it make it more interesting. So, right. Okay, so what we try to do is we reach out to our community in any way that we can be of service. Then we come together. There are a little over 30 of us right now, and we are kind of spread out through Central Texas. So we have divas who are in Bell County, Hayes County, Travis County, Williamson County. We actually have some divas who are out of state in Tennessee and in Virginia, and we are growing. And so if you are out of state, all you got to do is just log on. This COVID has taught us that we are in one very small space. If we can just log online and see your face or talk to you and hear your voice. So Divas and Dog Tags, we are here to support women veterans and wives of veterans, because we do experience things that civilians don't really understand. And a lot of times we can feel like we're alone. And so we do have a very serious side to us. We have a community service-based side of us. But we also like to have a real good time, honey. Hence, we have our dog tags. And the one thing I don't have is my T-shirt. That's what I forgot. So, but you can find it. You can find it. Go to Divas NIN Dog Tags on Facebook or Divas NINDogtags.org. We are on the World Wide Web, and take a look at us and see if you want to join us. We welcome you. Come on in. We'd love to have you join us.
Awesome. So, we're going to wrap this up. If none of you ladies or gentlemen, whoever's watching out there don't have any more questions, Miss Rhonda, we appreciate your energy. We appreciate your advocacy. We appreciate your servanthood. It's amazing. Let me see. They're saying thank you for serving the community.
Thank y'all. If you've met me, you've heard this phrase. If you haven't met me, this is my jam every day. It's a family reunion every day, and I love it. So thank y'all for having me. If I can be of service at any point, take my information, even if it's not today or next week. Take my information down and reach out to me. I'm willing to help in any way that I can. So thank y'all again for having me. This was a joy and a pleasure.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for joining. You guys have an amazing night. Good
Good
night.
night, everybody.